Welcome to HB Reddit Stories. Today we will see stories of r/am I the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for telling my neighbor to grow up, get a life, and get the F over the fact that I painted my house a color he doesn't like? I bought a house in a community without an homeowners association. I wanted my home to be my home, and that includes making it look the way that I want. I also chose a neighborhood that already has fun, colorful houses instead of just plain earth tones. I finally got to the point where I could repaint my house. I picked a soft peachy color with sage, blue, and soft and dark pink accents. Fun and colorful without being too out there. I think if you Google Coolers Blue Sage Peach, you'll see a similar palette. My neighbor Paul hates it and has been complaining since we started the project. He also made his opinion known that he hates our front lawn, lots of wildflowers and sunflowers, fun garden flags, a little free library, etc. Each and every time, I've told him that I don't care. Truly, I don't. And I've suggested a few times that maybe he'd be happier in a homeowners association community that has control over everything and forces people into having earth-toned homes. Paul got angry when I suggested that and said he's lived in his home for 15 years and shouldn't have to move. I told him okay, well you'll have to learn to live with a little color. Last weekend I was putting in pavers that my niece and I had painted together. They're all things like ladybugs, turtles, birds, etc. in fun colors. I adore them and my niece is so excited she gets to be a part of my home. Paul came over to complain yet again, saying it was all an eyesore, and my niece was here, so I just told him, it's time for you to grow up and get the F over what I'm doing with my house. He got even pissier and told me that I have no right to talk to him this way, do I know who I'm talking to, etc. I told him to just go away and get a life. If he has so much free time and moan about a colorful house, maybe he should get a hobby. He stormed off, calling me a nasty piece of work. My niece was cracking up on the side. For the record, no one in my family is uptight, we really don't care about cursing. I know some people still clutch their pearls over it around kids, she's 15, but I'm sure she says worse. Anyway, one of the other neighbors came to tell me that he's been flapping his yap about how disrespectful I am to talk to him like that. She told me that she knows he's a pain, but that he has been in the neighborhood forever and it's worth being nice to him. I don't know. Is telling him to get a life that big of a deal? Am I the a-hole? Top comments. Not the a-hole. The house's color scheme sounds gorgeous, something we'd have here in our Inman Park neighborhood. My guess is your neighbor is more upset about the kitschy items in your front yard than the color of your house. Maybe you need some pink flamingos. Next time he comes by with a complaint, hi Paul, I put some serious thought into your criticisms over my house. I think we could come to an agreement where if you start to pay my mortgage and my bills, then I will happily adjust the aesthetic of my home to your liking. We could start August 1st. Does that work for you? Otherwise, as the person paying the bills here, I'm going to continue doing whatever I want with my property, and will ask you to not approach me or my property again for this matter. Or a simple, get FD Paul. Up to you. Either way, not the a-hole. Not the a-hole, some people just don't understand when you try to be polite with them, so it is not your fault that you told them to F off, it is their fault. I bet other people would just fall down on their knees and praise this neighbor and do whatever he wants, yeah right. I always am very polite, but if other people do not understand or don't want to understand I become very rude. This saves me a lot of time in future because these people know what I will tell them and they don't even try to pull more crap on me as it just doesn't work. Not the a-hole. He comes harassing you and you need to be nice. Riddle me that one. If the neighbor who is suggesting you be nice has any suggestions on how to keep this blowhard out of you face/property, that would be more helpful than, kids it's both your fault, advice. It may take two to fight, but he is the only one creating the situation. You can't walk away, it's your house, so he is actively seeking conflict but is offended that he is called out. You do you and you are not the a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for reminding my friend that just because she's poor, doesn't mean I am? I'm 20F, enrolled in the laundry program at school, where I pay a lump sum, and they do my laundry for me all year. It's very popular at my university, and they pick it up from my dorm weekly. My friend, 21F, is weirdly obsessed with this and constantly comments on it for some reason. She always comes over and sees my bag, and has some random comment to say. She'll say, "How could anyone pay for that?" To which I always say, why would I ever do something I don't want to, if I can just pay someone else to do it for me? I'm wondering if she's like this to everyone, because that would explain why she has few friends. Almost everyone I know uses the laundry program. Her unwanted comments make me like her less. She did it again, and was like, "What a waste of money. The laundry program is ridiculously expensive, and no one can afford that." I simply said that I don't find it expensive at all, and that she finds it expensive because she's poor. I'm not, so I'll continue paying for the program. She's furious that I called her poor. But she is. It's just a fact. Am I the a-hole? Top comments. Everyone sucks here. She clearly is jealous and resentful, and you clearly are unempathetic, snotty and not caring or savvy enough to handle this with any wisdom or grace. Pointing out someone's lack of resources isn't kind. Did you earn that money, or it is your parents who actually pay? I'm surprised you have any friends, too. Everyone sucks here. This is not hard. I hate doing laundry and I'm lucky I have the money to hire somebody else. I got it, you think it's a waste of money. I don't care what you think about my laundry. Stop giving me crap about it. You can shut her down hard without calling her poor. Is this real? Everyone sucks here, but you're definitely the bigger a-hole. For many people, college is the first time they're exposed to truly different lifestyles, economic class structure, and upbringings. You could both learn from each other. Neither of you chose the backgrounds you come from. I was going to go with everyone sucks here, but after reading your incredibly entitled and self-absorbed comments, want you to know that you are leaning towards you are the a-hole, and boy are you in for a shock in life. You've been fortunate enough to have generous parents who are willing to support you financially, but this is not the case for all people, even those from upper middle class families. My parents were wealthy and they held every dollar over my head. Not everyone has parents who are willing to help even if they can. You need to be more self-aware and empathetic towards other people. Be sensitive and kind, because life always comes full circle. You are the a-hole. Yes, your friends' comments are annoying. But your attitude is entitled and snotty, frankly. Calling her poor and pointing out you're rich is pretty much the epitome of being an entitled a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for labeling my son's school supplies and informing his next teacher they are not to be shared with his stepsister? My son isn't back in school yet, but I was contacted by his teacher for next grade asking if I had bought him all the required items and to inquire about any donated class supplies. While we were talking, I told her that I had labeled my son's supplies and do not want him forced to share those with his stepsister, not my stepchild, my exes. I also made it clear I was not counting the donated class supplies I'd be giving, but just my son's personal ones. Last grade it was a constant issue and the teacher ignored me because it wasn't stated at the start of the year. So I got ahead this year. His teacher said she made a note of it and wouldn't make him share. My ex and his wife were contacted also. Her about her 2 kids, daughter and a younger son. Him about our son. His wife apparently told the teacher her daughter's supplies would be shared by my son, and she corrected them and said she must have his own because class supplies can't substitute him the entire year. This was followed by my ex calling to say they can't afford to do this crap. He said it was bad enough finding stuff for the kids to use when my son was leaving his supplies in the cubby at school so they couldn't be used by all the kids. But now the school is saying they can't be divided between the 2 kids and that I'm a selfish for that. He said they're family and it shouldn't be this big of an issue. I told him I was not responsible for providing for his stepkids. That if they can't afford them then it's not my problem. He told me his stepdaughter will suffer and I told him I do not care. It's not my job to make sure she and her brother are provided for, and I told him that I ended up spending way more than expected on supplies last year when our son was forced to share. Ex's wife reached out and told me I should be ashamed. I should be more willing to let the sharing happening, they're siblings and belong to the same family, innocent child. I told her that if she cannot afford to buy her kids supplies she should find their dads and ask. Not expecting me, who has nothing to do with her kids, to support them. For context, my son is 8, his stepsister is also 8 or literally about to turn 8, and his stepbrother is 5 of 6. My son wasn't willingly sharing the supplies. He was forced to buy his teacher and he hated it because she did ruin some of his best supplies, especially crayons and color pencils, but also his sharpener. I don't think it was intentional. It seems like she's just a rougher kid with stuff. X and his wife say I'm a jerk and should feel so ashamed for willingly letting a child in the family suffer and for being petty about school supplies. Am I the a-hole? Top comments. Not the a-hole. Why would you be obligated to buy supplies for another kid? It's telling how demands of sharing and accusations of selfishness only go one way here. OP replies. Apparently I'm supposed to be the bigger person, think of the kids, except that I can mostly afford it and do this so they can have the weight taken off of them, like I had anything to do with them coming together and getting married when they can't afford stuff for her kids. Not the a-hole, and good for you for having a shiny backbone. Think of the kids, doesn't fly when she's trying to pin responsibility onto other people. She can find someone else to manipulate through pity. OP replies. Especially when it ends up being a completely unrelated third party who is expected to take on the burden of the cost. Never someone who actually has something to do with the kids in question. Strange. I've done about 20-ish grade school, back-to-school days with my kids over the years, so 20 different supply lists, at least than many different teachers. Absolutely zero called to confirm school supplies had been purchased. OP replies. This is the second year I've experienced this. Apparently they like to have an idea of who'll have supplies, what they get donated, etc., a few weeks before school starts back up. I don't know any other school around US that does it, and this school only started a year ago. This is infuriating to me. My youngest niece missed her first year of real school due to lockdown, and her mom excitedly purchased all the required items included on the list. Because my niece was worried, having been out of school/nursery for so long, she let her pick exactly what she wanted and even paid a little extra to have her name embossed onto her coloring pencils. Within a week the teacher took the colored pencils and put them in communal pots in the middle of the table for everyone to share. Niece was devastated. I understand the teachers are in a hard position with some kids not having supplies, but to take away her special pencils without even informing the parents is punishing the kids who turned up prepared. Absolutely not the a-hole. You are already donating extra supplies, as did my sister-in-law, that should be enough. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling a parent that their kid is weird when she pushed as to why my kid didn't want to be her friend? My family and I have moved states. It has been a hard move, especially for my oldest daughter Caddy. She is in 6th grade. The area school district has a Facebook account that parents are a part of. I introduced myself on there a while ago. We put Caddy on the cross-country team and she has been making friends over the summer. I got a message from a parent last week, asking to meet up and let the kids met. They would be in the same grade and I thought it would be a good opportunity. We went yesterday at the local pool. I met Melanie and she wouldn't make eye contact, was very soft-spoken and overall didn't seem to be paying attention. The kids were playing while I talked to the mom. She has always been in the area and was excited her kid was getting a friend. Caddy came up to me asking to leave since she wasn't feeling well. We left early and in the car she admitted to just wanting to get away from Melanie. She explained that Melanie freaked her out. She was very touchy, kept pushing her in the water, was whispering, saying things under her breath, would stare at people and make comments, comparing people to bugs. I am still confused on what that means. Caddy told me she was uncomfortable and doesn't want to hang out with her again. The parent messaged me and asked when they could do it again. I told her the girls didn't mesh well and that we will have to decline. She then called me asking what I meant. I told her that Caddy wasn't interested in hanging out since they don't mesh together. I was trying to be polite about it. This went on for a while and she told me that they kids just needed to be around each other more. I told her no to that. It's went on for a while. She asked to talk to my husband, which is when I snapped. I told her no and that I was trying to be polite, but your kid is weird. Melanie makes my kid uncomfortable and I don't know what the hell is up with her, but we will not have another play date. She went on Facebook and it going around about how the new family are jerks. It seems to not be going anywhere, but I am wondering if I was a jerk. Top Xiaomiants she asked to speak to your husband. As in, she thought that was the social equivalent of asking for the manager? Let me speak to the person in charge of you, basically. Nope. Absolutely not. Not the a-hole. My guess would be that there's a reason why her daughter evidently doesn't have any friends, and at least some of it originates with the mother. Not the a-hole. You tried to let her down lightly and she pushed it further. My suggestion would be to explain exactly what you did in this post about Melanie's specific behavior and not just call her weird. Having specifics might help her mom understand why she made Caddy uncomfortable. Or she'll make excuses for it, but at least you tried. I have a feeling others have been through this before, and that's probably why the post isn't doing as much damage as it would have otherwise. Not the a-hole. You respected your daughter's wishes and defended her. A child should not be forced to play with someone she doesn't like. You tried being polite, the mom wouldn't let it go and tried going over your head by wanting to talk with your husband. And now she is bashing you on Facebook. I would block her, life's too short to deal with that. There's a reason she pounced on you as the new person, trying to have the kids meet before school started. Honestly, I would have seen that as a red flag, but then her excitement over her kid getting a friend when they've been there? Her kid doesn't have friends for a reason. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share and subscribe the channel HB Reddit Stories.